Hey, I'm back, and we are continuing our book, The Hardy Boys, The Secret of the Old Mill, and we're chapter 10, The Sign of the Arrow. What clue do you mean, Frank? Joe demanded eagerly. Electon's name was on that list Mr. Evans showed us this morning. Yes, I know, but Dad didn't seem excited over that. Well, I am, Frank said. Put two and two together. Every time we've been near a Lecton area, something has happened. First, the warning on the arrow, then the attack last night. Of course, Joe said. I get you. Someone who has access to the company's paper supply could have sent the warnings and knocked us out. But who? An employee of Electon? That's the mystery, said Frank. Is the person trying to get at Dad through us? And which of the cases is this mysterious person connected with? The counterfeit case or Dad's secret one? Then there's the bike, Joe recalled. Someone from the company easily could have taken it from the storage area under the mill at night when the guard and maintenance men were inside the gatehouse. Joe, said Frank slowly, we're theorizing on the case having a connection with Electon. Do you think Dad is too, even though he didn't tell us? The Electon name may have been the clue he found at Quality Paper. Joe snapped his fingers. My guess is that Dad is doing some detective work for Electon. That would explain why he can't say anything. Electon is doing top secret space missile work. It's possible, Frank speculated, that Electon retained Dad because of the chain of sabotage acts in the plants handling similar jobs for the government. Sounds logical, Joe agreed. I guess Dad's main assignment would be to ward off sabotage at Electon. No wonder he's so anxious to find out who sent the warnings. Just then, Chet arrived in the Queen and leaped out. I have a job, he announced to Frank and Joe. Then he looked a bit sheepish. It's in the cafeteria serving line behind the food counter. The cafeteria is run on a concession basis, and the people working there aren't as carefully screened as the plant employees. Joe grinned. It's not very scientific, but think of the food. You'll be able to eat anything you want. Chet sighed and did not respond with one of his usual humorous comebacks. A worried expression spread over his face. He shifted from one foot to another. What's on your mind? Joe prodded. Not nervous about the job, are you? Chet shook his head. He dug into his pocket and pulled out a piece of white paper. I'm nervous about this. Another warning note. It was on the seat of my car when I came out after the job interview. He handed the note to Frank. Unfolding it, Frank read aloud. You and your pals watch out. There was no signature on the boldly printed note, but at the bottom was a crude drawing of an arrow. Chet gulped. Must be that arrow shooter. He's keeping tabs on all of us, he said. Frank and Joe studied the note intently for a minute. Then Frank asked Chet, Where did you park? Near the front entrance. The guard at the mill told me to go in that way to reach the personnel office. Chet smiled faintly. Boy, was he surprised when I told him I had an appointment. The Hardys were more convinced than ever that their unknown enemy must somehow be linked to the Electon Company. Well, we'll compare this note to the others, Frank said. But first, Chet, we'll show you something to cheer you up. The brothers led their friend into the boathouse. Feast your eyes, Joe grinned. This is our surprise. Chet gasped when he saw the sleuth. Wow, she's really yours? You bet. How about a ride? Eagerly, Chet accepted. As the Hardys refueled from the boathouse tank, they told Chet about the adventure they had had the previous night. You suspect there's a connection between somebody at Lecton and the counterfeiting? Chet guessed. That's right, Frank replied. He then told Chet about the Printos having received a counterfeit bill. "We think," said Joe, "the boy in the panel truck who gave Mike the counterfeit 20 might have been Ken Blake." "Ken Blake again," Chet commented. "Funny how he keeps turning up." The Hardys agreed. As Frank steered the sleuth into the bay, Joe suggested, "Let's run up Willow River to the mill. That'll give you a good chance to see how the boat rides, Chet, and also we can stop to question the guard and the maintenance man and Ken Blake. They might have seen some suspicious people in the area." "I should have known this would turn into—" Oh no, my page is coming out. "A sleuthing trip," Chet sighed. "Oh well, I'm with you if we can learn anything about counterfeiters." When Frank had the sleuth well away from the shore and out of the path of the other crafts on the bay, he pushed the throttle for more speed and steered the boat toward the mouth of the river. The sleuth responded like a thoroughbred. The stern sat back in the water, and in a second it was planing wide open across the bay. "How do you like this?" Frank called from the cockpit. "Terrific!" Chet yelled back enthusiastically. Frank now swung the wheel back and forth to show his friends how stable the boat was. Then he said, "Joe, take the wheel and show Chet your stuff." The brothers changed places, and Joe made a wide circle to port, with the sleuth heeling beautifully. Then he headed for the river's narrow mouth. "Better slow down," Frank warned. Obediently, Joe began to ease the throttle. The sleuth did not respond, and there was no lessening of the roar of the engine. Quickly, Joe turned the throttle all the way back. Still, there was no decrease in the speed. "What's wrong?" he shouted. "I can't slow down. Something's wrong," he shouted. "I can't slow down." And that's the end of chapter 10. I hate it when they leave us in a cliffhanger at the end of the chapter. My bookmark fell, so now I'm trying to find something to mark my spot. Thank you for joining me. We're halfway through the book, so you'll have to come back and see what happens next.